You jump a little rope. You take a little tiny kettlebell. You do a couple cleans and presses. You do a few push-ups. You do a few sit-ups. You get your blood pumping. You're moving. You're alive. You're exercising. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job. What's encouraged is go find some place that you can shove yourself into. Go find a square hole that you can stick your round peg and just fucking jam it in there and shave down the top and the bottom so you slide in with all this extra space on the sides and feel like shit for the rest of your life because you need a job, because you're in debt, because you have credit cards, because you have student loans, because that's what everybody does. And so you do it too. That's what's wrong. What's wrong is that we don't give, it's like we let them figure it out on their own, and it fucking takes forever. It took forever for me. The only thing that I had going for me was that I was crazy and that I'd been spending most of my high school years fighting, so that I was already so far outside of anybody that I was so weird. I didn't feel like I had I knew one thing: I couldn't work like a regular job. Like I had to figure out something else, because like there's the idea of, it was literally the idea of being in an office was like torture, and a lot of that diet affects their physical health. But there's been many people that have just put their foot down and said, enough, I'm gonna change my life, and they don't take any excuses, and they feel way better. Diet is most certainly a part of that, but there's also a discipline aspect, and these things are not mutually exclusive. They exist together. They're all together, and they work symbiotically. The way your mindset affects the choices you make with your diet, and the mindset also affects the choices you make in terms of like whether or not you require yourself to exercise. And I think these are critical aspects that people like to gloss over, or they like to make excuses about, and they get very angry if you don't accept those excuses. And that's a sign that they're trying to enforce this standard and this idea and push it on you and give themselves an excuse. It's one of the reasons why they get angry. It's one thing if someone has a legit physical issue like you do, but there's a lot of people who do not. They just have poor diet choices, they have a sedentary lifestyle, and they have the momentum of this sedentary lifestyle that's holding them back. They're accustomed to being lazy. You most certainly can. You don't have to do a lot, you just have to do something. You walk up hills, you jump a little rope, you take a little tiny kettlebell, you do a couple cleans and presses, you do a few push-ups, you do a few sit-ups, you get your blood pumping, you're moving, you're alive, you're exercising. To say you don't have enough energy to exercise, that's crazy. Can you walk? Then you can exercise. I'm not saying that you have to run marathons. You can exercise, and everyone should fucking exercise. Never say, these people are so crazy. They want you to believe, I don't have the energy to exercise. God damn it. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just walk around the block. There's 80-year-old ladies who take yoga with me. They're fucking really old, and they're in there. They're going after it. They could easily say, I don't have the energy to do that. But they don't. It's a mental attitude. They make a decision. You don't have to go nuts and do clean and presses with 150 pounds. You don't have to do that, but you have to do something. Just get your blood moving. Your body has requirements. It wants to move. It really does. And when it does, you feel better. But people like to give themselves this excuse. I do not have the energy to do this. Whatever. If you decide that, that's true. But if you watch a motivational video, there's 100 of them on YouTube, thousands even. You go watch one, you'll get fired up. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump some rope. You jump some rope, you do something. Just do some push-ups, do something, do some bodyweight squats. You'll feel better. But it's also like learning that and having that as a part of your daily life. It has to be, again, I'm not talking about someone like you who's in throes of this autoimmune disorder where you're getting your hip replaced at 17. I'm not talking about someone with like serious degenerative illness. I'm talking about just a regular person who's overweight. You can do it. There's a lady who's like 450 pounds that takes yoga with me. She's enormous. She's in there. Which is probably really embarrassing. Very hard to do, and she's in there. Anyone could do it. We can do it. And again, I'm not saying do what Michael Phelps does. I'm just saying just do something. Gotta do something. We have fucked up lifestyles. The human body is not designed to sit down all day, and it's certainly not designed to be stuck in traffic and be in an office, a computer monitor, watching your soul get sucked through the LCD screen. It's crazy. You have an apartment you have to pay for. You have a car you leased. You have a wife that you have to feed. You have a child you have to raise. You have your mortgage. You have your this. You have your that. And that's where it all comes from. Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. Your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz. If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell. Plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you fucked up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, god damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You gotta go. You gotta get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something. And to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific. I think here's an important thing too. I think failure teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination. It also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. That when you feel like shit and you screw something up, like when I've had bad podcasts, my podcast has always gotten better afterwards. When I've had bad stand-up sets, I've always gotten better after that because those bad sets motivate you. They give you a perspective like, hey, here's some clear examples of where you fucked up. Don't look at these failures as like proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better. You have to make mistakes. You've been there, you feel it, you understand what it is, and then you have that time to adjust. That's why losing in life is so important. Whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, loss. Those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong, and you improve, and then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better. And I mean that, in a relative sense, like even getting good at something. Forget about victory, like making a terrible book that gets rejected by every publisher and then writing a really good one and people accept it and you're like, fuck, I got better. Yes, feelings of failure are really critical for your motivation.